I remember when I was 5 years old, I was told that we were going to visit Grandma in the hospital. I knew she was there and that she was sick, but I did not know many of the details of how she ended up there or why she had to stay. My grandma and I were best friends. We hung out at least once a week and we would play all kinds of games. Plus, she made some really good spaghetti. But when I got to the hospital, I could tell that something was off. She didn't seem to recognize me and she seemed really tense. She kept telling my mom that we had to leave and she didn't want me there. My mom later explained that my grandma was not really physically sick, but that her mind was not well. Turns out, my grandma had severe depression and was having a psychotic episode where I was the target of her thoughts. I would not know the impact that her mental health had on my life trajectory until much later, but that moment in the hospital was pivotal to me discovering what truly mattered to me. Fast forward a few years, and I assisted at my church's outreach program, where guests came to receive assistance with the barriers they were currently facing, whether that be paying for a new ID, or clothing, or a bus pass to their new job. Here I learned so much about my privilege and even more about mental health, but I wasn't sure why the people I met in the program were struggling. The programs that the government had implemented to assist in these cases were often not helpful. I knew that I wanted to change the system as much as I could. When I came across the CESP program in college, I knew this was perfect for me to continue volunteering and being an active member of my community. Since starting in my first year here, I have tried a bunch of different community service styles and organizations throughout this program. I did similar work as my church's outreach program at People Serving People, managing the front desk, but I knew that I was not going to be trusted by the residents unless I stayed for much longer than the service learning course I was in was going to allow, and rightfully so. Many of the residents saw white people coming and going, helping, and then leaving before the work was actually done. When I left, I committed myself to not entering a new volunteer position unless I intended to stay for an extended period of time. At the Ronald McDonald House, I found that the educational program was not set up in an effective way, and I was often left to my own devices to remember calculus that I had not done in years. I found that I needed a place with a bit more structure and a place that felt, at least to me, a bit more effective in assisting all of the people they were there to help. In Senator Amy Klobuchar's office, I was constantly reminded of the amount of bureaucracy and red tape there is in government work. I knew that this was not where I felt fulfilled or called to work. Though there were days that we were able to help people, there were many more where we had to deny constituents services. I also found that having people constantly calling to say rude or even threatening things about you or your values was a lot more taxing on my mental health than I expected. I often left the office feeling drained and like not much progress had been made. When I landed at Tubman in my various capacities, I found that I loved working in a nonprofit again, in a team of women, queer folks, and BIPOC people. I also knew that the work I was doing there is important and has helped people. I learned a lot about the legal system, domestic violence cases, and how to go about safety planning. Though not every day was exciting, I knew that I was helping people feel ownership over their lives again and get access to resources they would not have had without our assistance. The starfish story represents exactly how I thought about this work every day. I may not have been making a huge, sweeping, systematic change, but I was making so much change in each of these survivors' lives, and that also matters. As I begin to think about my future, I will take these experiences as guidance when applying for and accepting work. I know what I like and what I don't like, what I value and what is not for me, where I thrive and where I just survive. I will continue to learn what works for me, and I will grow through each experience that I have. My experiences witnessing people going through mental health crises and not having the access to treatment or other resources that would be helpful has led me to wanting to work directly with people and assist them in finding the resources necessary. Thank you to my grandma for showing me how important mental health is and how needed basic resources are in managing one's mental health.